My name is Jen Mitchell. I'm a mother of 2 children. One is going into 3rd grade with a speech impediment and the other 5th. I'm also a small business owner and my husband works full-time. Last year was off to a difficult start between lockdowns and school being canceled. During that time, my husband and I needed to juggle between our jobs that support and feed our family and our children's education. My business could not be left unattended as I work in travel and we were in crisis mode and trying to navigate online learning with both children. Our children had no contact with other children as everything was closed and locked down. I felt like a terrible parent, and my kids and I both cried on a fairly regular basis. I noticed a change in both kids. Then a sign of normalcy. Camp resumed. My kids could be kids again. They came home happy, they were sweaty, talking about their day, had play dates, sleepovers, back to normal. We had 0 COVID cases all summer, and the kids did not wear a mask. I questioned why our camp was able to operate without a mask and the schools could not. In the fall, I feared sending them to a hospital-like school setting. When I learned of the mask mandates in the 2020 school year, I made it my mission to find a school with no mask mandate or less restrictions on masks. I applied for scholarships, financial aid, and I found an alternative to Collier County Public School. I was glad there were less restrictions. However, the masking that still took place was enough to negatively affect my kids. We had friends in private and charter schools that were no masks at all, and they all reported the same thing, little to no cases. It wasn't a perfect world, even with less masking. The kids in elementary had it tough emotionally. My daughter Samantha was a new kid and struggled to make solid friendships. She had challenges reading people, so with the mask, she misread her friends often with their facial expressions, only being able to look in their eyes. This made her nervous, uncomfortable, and often on the defense, causing her to act out. Until this year, Sam has never been in trouble or had behavior issues. Her school counselor said that this misunderstanding and communications were very problematic and caused a lot of discord, especially with the little ones who are socially developing. The counselor said that she used to pass the kid in the hall and immediately know if something was wrong. This year, not the case. Sam hit her bottom last year when we had to seek outside help to learn how to handle her stress and anxiety. She's 8. Not only was it upsetting, we needed to seek out mental health, but we found that we couldn't really find any therapists or child psychologists with an opening because so many kids are having issues this year. Last year, right before we started masking in the schools, I spoke before the school board. I had predicted what was almost alarmingly accurate recap of what actually had occurred. I had told them if we cover all their faces and teach them to stay far away from others as possible, we'll have lasting implications on our children's mental health. I told them to think of how these children will feel if a friend or teacher was fearful of one another. These missing smiles that make our kids feel comforted and loved. Sadly, this prediction came to fruition last year. It happened to my family, but more so I've heard from many other parents with similar stories and their kids struggling with friendships, anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts or actions. If I had the choice, I may have opted to homeschool last year, but like many parents who have 2-income households or 2 working parents, this was not an option. This year, our kids returned back to the same summer camp, and to date, there's still no issues with COVID. Kids and counselors alike were not wearing masks. Again, why is this not being talked about? The kids who have the privilege to get into private school or charter schools are protected from these mask mandates, yet kids who do not have the same privilege are being sacrificed. What upsets me even more is if this really was 2 weeks to stop the spread, it would have been a different story. This is going on 2 years of their childhood. 2 years of a world without hugging their friends in the hallway. 2 years of covering up those gorgeous smiles. 2 years of what's supposed to be a stress-free time in their lives. I'm here today as an advocate for all of our children. Please protect our children's mental health this year. And thank you for doing that.